Hey there, son of a silver stacker here. Welcome to the best daily U.S. Mint news channel on YouTube. Today's date's the 17th of April, 2026, and you know what that means. It's the day of the drop for the emerging Liberty dime. That's right, we're going to be going live at 11:40 a.m. Eastern Time, 8:40 a.m. on the West Coast. Can't wait, and I hope to see you there. It's going to be an awesome drop, and I would imagine, well, it's going to go rather quickly. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the waiting room. We're going to be talking about the press release that the Mint dropped for the emerging Liberty dime, and then we're going to be talking about an article that is about the penny for 2025. That's right. A lot of good stuff going on here in this video. Now, before any of that, though, make sure you hit that like button. We're trying to get this video to go viral, where hundreds, maybe tens of people could possibly watch it. Also, I'm always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm not going to say. And don't forget, if you're new here or you're a returning viewer, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 16,000 subs by today. Yeah, by the end of today. We'll see if that happens. Now we're here to Money Metals. So it looks like everything's a mixed bag today, and mostly flat over here. So gold's up $1.90 to 48.0250. Silver right at the cusp of $80, up 83 cents to 79.93. Platinum, however, down 19.35 to 20.8165. Palladium down 12.75 to 15.5605, and Dr. Copper flat at 603 per pound. Down over here, you're looking at an in-stock American Silver Eagle, whose premium is $17.19 for quantity 1 through 9. They're going to ask that you pay $97.12. Now the buyback, look at that, $80.97, and that's clearly over the silver ask price, but not by not by too much. What is it, $1.04 over the silver ask price there? Yeah, it's a little bit, not too much. Now let's keep on keeping on. We're going to go to the United States Mint's product schedule, and let me go up to the top here because I noticed something when I was perusing this morning. Yeah, look at that. All four product options are, well, they're showing up for the Native American dollar right there. And are these available this morning? Well, yes, they are. Who knew? All right, that's the Philadelphia roll is available. Let's see if the 100-coin bag is available. And no, so only the Philly roll is available this morning right there, add to bag. But that's not the only thing. Check this out. Yeah, the Revolutionary War Quarter 100-coin bag from Philly was available. And not only that, the America the Beautiful, what am I talking about? I'm in a time warp. Yeah, the Semiquincentennial Mayflower Compact quarters were available in the 2-roll set this morning as well. Who knew? How exciting is that? Now let's keep on keeping on. Oh, guess what? Yeah. So it looks like a plethora of coins were available this morning. And that was a 25-coin roll out of Denver. And it was also add to bag. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 different coins that supposedly were sold out, and they probably are already, I would imagine. Let's go ahead and hit reload here just to find out, just for scientific purposes. I'm going to select the product, and it is Gonzo. Yeah, here today, gone right now. Yeah, so it's Gonzo, and that's probably the case for the Revolutionary War Quarter as well. Let's check out the 100-coin bag out of Denver, Gonzo, the P&D set Gonzo, and yeah. So that's basically the way it works, is that the United States Mint will drop some of these coins at 7:30 in the morning, and there could be maybe 5, maybe 10 of them available for sale, and then they get gobbled up rather quickly. In fact, a lot of people do complain that, well, once they get it in their cart and try and check out, it is gonzo. And like I always say, and I've been saying this for years and years and years, is that it should be more like Ticketmaster, or even buying ballpark tickets through the ballpark app or what have you, where if it's in your cart, you have a certain amount of time where nobody else can snatch it from you, and you have like 5 to 10 minutes to complete the transaction. I don't know why the Mint doesn't do that. It just confuses me as to what's going on there. They say they're for the collector, but is that really true if they're if they're able to have somebody else snag whatever's in your cart from underneath you? That's not very cool, in my opinion. Now, let's get to today's drop. We're going to be talking about the Semiquincentennial dot. Let's see if this one's actually Gonzo as well. Yeah, let's see here. 25-coin roll, Philly, yeah, it's still available. 25-coin roll out of Denver, still available. 100-coin bag out of Philly, available. And the 100-coin bag out of Denver, still available. So the Cray 1 is available in all product options. Isn't that fantastic? All right, over here to the this is going to be talking about the waiting room today. And a lot of people have questions about that. What's going on with the waiting room? So here we are at News Coins Online from September 2025. It says it's right there. Title of this article is "Are You Privy to These Marks?" That's right. So it says here, why wait for the waiting room? This is really this is a big deal, folks, and you know the United States Mint is going to employ the waiting room for today's drop. No doubt about it in my book. All right, it says here, if you've ever joined the rush for a limited edition drop, that's today, you know that it's part thrill and part patience. That's right. Smell the flower, blow out the candle. And if you get worked up, it's not going to help you at all. In fact, they say that when we get angry or frustrated, our IQ literally drops. We don't get smarter. Yeah, it's the opposite. Now it says we get it. That's why we built a helpful feature to make the shopping experience smoother, fairer, and a little less chaotic for every collector. It's called the virtual waiting room. And like I said a minute ago or so, yeah, that's not all that they should do. They should also um, put it, like it said, if it's in your cart, nobody else should be able to take that from you unless you just take forever to make your purchase. And then they can take it out of there and it goes back into the general pool of what's available. But if it's in your cart, the computer program, the website should know that, and it won't take it out from underneath your feet. But that's basically how it happens. It's like, well, I put it in my cart, and then when I went to check out, it was gone. Yeah, why does that keep happening? Why? It doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't. Now it says here, when we expect heavy site traffic, the virtual waiting room kicks in to help keep the site running smoothly and give everyone a fair chance at the products they came for. It's not a slowdown. It's a smarter way. I don't know. Maybe that's an opinion. I think it's not a slowdown. It's a smarter way to keep things moving and make sure the drop feels less like a scramble. A mad scramble is probably a better way to describe that action. Now it says here, make the virtual waiting room work for you with these insider tips. And that's why I'm telling you this today, because this is a big deal drop. All right. Now you got to pay attention. This is important. Before a big drop, early site visitors are placed in a queue with real-time updates. Tip. Here's a tip. They wouldn't have said this in bold if it wasn't important. Pay attention to the updates and avoid refreshing your page. There you go. A lot of people are like, well, should I refresh my page? No, no, no. Avoid refreshing your page. Here's the other bullet point that's important. Once the sale begins, everyone gets shuffled into a random order and gradually let in. Do you hear that? It doesn't matter. And that's before the sale, once the sale begins, right? Once the sale begins, everybody. So show up after launch. Well, don't worry. You'll be added to the line in the order you arrive. Yeah, it's first come, first serve at that point after launch, all right? Now, here's the tip. Plan on arriving a little early to improve your chances of getting in quickly after the launch. All right, pay attention to updates, don't refresh, and get there early to improve your chances of getting in quickly after the launch. And the final bullet point says, once you're in, you'll have a set window to complete your purchase. All right, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it either. It just means it's in your cart. Okay, remember that. And it's a bummer in the summer when they don't have that set up like Ticketmaster. Wah, wah. All right, once you're in, you'll have a set window to complete your purchase, usually about 10 minutes. All right, if you can't do that in 10 minutes, I don't know what you're doing over there. If you're making a sandwich, what are you doing? All right, tip, have a list ready for the products you want so you can shop fast. And really, the Mint does it for you. It's called the wish list. Yeah, that's right. So put all the products you want on a wish list and then make your purchase from there. It's a whole heck of a lot faster, folks. I'm telling you. And they should really give you that heads up here on this third bullet point, or make a fourth bullet point to express that advantage, because it really is an advantage. Now it says here, our goal is to make your wait as short as possible so you can focus on what really matters, adding something new to your collection. Just remember, getting through the virtual waiting room doesn't guarantee you'll snag the product you want. Inventory can sell out fast, even while you're checking out. Right there, that's the one. Yeah. And they know it too. There it is. That's the evidence that they know that when you're checking out, it can adios, muchacho. Yeah, it's gone. So the next time you see the virtual waiting room feature pop up, remember, it's not there to slow you down. It's about leveling the playing field. Yeah, life isn't fair. Fair is what you pay to get on the bus, all right? But because when it comes to collecting, good things come to those who wait. Womp womp. Yeah, Dial a Cliche just called. They want their money back. All right, let's go. Let's keep on keeping on. That's going to be from Coins Online, September 2025. And there we go. This is the Semiquincentennial 2-roll set and bags of the Emerging Liberty Dime, available on April 17 press release. and it dropped April 15, 2026, 2 days ago. Must have been like at midnight or right before midnight where they added this, because I've been looking. Okily dokily. This is out of Washington, D.C., April 15, 2026. The United States Mint will begin accepting orders for the 2026 Semiquincentennial Emerging Liberty Dime 2-roll sets and bags on April 17 at noon. That's today, folks. Remember that. Product options include, and it's priced at $54, a bag containing 200 circulating quality dimes minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and that's product code 26 Sierra Delta Bravo. Priced at $40, all right. It's a 2-roll set containing a total of 100 circulating quality coins, and there's a roll of Philadelphia and there's a roll of Denver, right? Minted in Philadelphia and Denver, product code 26 Sierra Delta Romeo. Customers may set up remind me alerts for these products. Yeah, that's if you can't get it, right? View images of the emerging Liberty Dimes and learn more about the other 2026 Semi-Quincentennial program offerings. All right. The emerging Liberty Dime offers design features a determined liberty. As the winds of revolution waft through her hair with steadfast resolve, she faces the tyranny of the British monarchy. Her liberty cap bears stars and stripes, at once a symbol of our burgeoning nation and a reference to early American coinage. Inscriptions are "Liberty in God We Trust," and the dual date 1776 with the tilde and 2026. The reverse design features and both obverse and reverse on this coin are solid. And don't forget, when this coin design came out, last year, at the end of last year, November, December, everybody was like, yep, that's the one. And it was immediately welcomed into the collecting community. I got chicken skin just thinking about how awesome this coin design is, and how many people, I mean, immediately out of all the 2026 Semiquincentennial designs, this is the one right here today. All right. If you don't got chicken skin, you better check your pulse. All right. All right. It says here, let's rewind a little bit. The reverse design features an eagle in flight carrying arrows in its talons, representing the American Revolution and the colonists' fight for independence. Yeah, those Minutemen, they really did a number on those Brits. All right, inscriptions are United States of America, e pluribus unum, 1 dime, and liberty over tyranny. How cool is that? Liberty over tyranny. Man, it's like that one license plate out of the Northeast. All right, it's about the United States Mint, additional resources, yada, yada. I will leave a link in the description for this particular page here. All right, and now let's get to the hot coin of the day, or even the year. There it is. That's the eagle with the talon right there, empty right there. No peace for the British, because it's time for liberty over tyranny. And that's the what is it? The arrows there. And there is the obverse right there. Really dig the obverse. My only complaint out of this one is, see, there's the stars, there's the stripes there. My only issue with this is that the artist's initials could have been placed somewhere else. Are they almost the same size as the mint mark? Yeah, I don't know about that, but they got close. If this is a 12 font, these are a 10 font. So they could have put the EA over here somewhere in the hair, the CAC behind the ear. I don't even know. Maybe they tried something and were like, well, just put it in the field and you're good. So what are these selling for? Well, I'm glad you asked. You got to check this out. So here we are. We find ourselves at eBay. This is for the 2026 dime. I kept it pretty simple, pretty plain, so that we could find out all of, and look, this is what's incredible. These onesie twosies that are being sold on eBay. Yeah, there's 50 of these in a roll, right? 50 in a roll, and they're selling $369. What is that? That's the World Cup stuff. $241 there with 8 bids, $1.50 delivery. Look at that person scored the Semiquincentennial dime and nickel sets. You got P and D right there, and they looks like they've got some kind of hologram foil sticker for the mint marks. All right, that's pretty cool. 84 there. Here we go. Look at this. There's a new die crack right under the bust. You can see it there. It looks like an upside down rainbow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Emerging Liberty Dime. And these sales are all from the 16th, just yesterday. These are hot, folks, like really hot, like too hot to touch, too hot to handle, like a hot potato. $3 there, $1 delivery. You get a P&D for $3.99, $5.41 for P&D, lot of 4. So imagine how much you're going to make. Look at this P&D, 2 coins for $5. Yeah, and do the math right there. If you get 2 coins for $5, that's $2.50. For, let's see, they're making $2.50 here. and then you multiply that by 50 coins in there. That's 125 per roll that these folks are making. 125. That's not bad. Not bad at all. 72.95 there. And where's the one that are, well, mint packaging? Well, they're right here, $110 there. That's for the 2-roll set. And did this person leave money on the table? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Oh, and by the by, I didn't really get into it. Just so you know, the 200 coin bag has a product limit of 8,000. It's going to be $54. They didn't say anything about the mintage or the product limit in this particular press release. And then the 2-roll set is 12,000. Now, the household order limit for both product options is going to be 1. And here's my question to you. Do you think the United States Mint's going to go, well, that sold so well and it sold out so quickly that we're actually going to double the product limit to 24,000 or maybe 15,000 or 20,000 for the 2-roll set? And then the 200 coin bag, yeah, we're going to make it 15,000 now. Do you think the Mint could actually do that? 100% they could actually do that. And they've done it before with the Mayflower Compact Quarter, right? So there is that. 110 there. 175, and that one's going to be the 200 bag set. Anything else here? No, 290. Yeah, not really. There's another one, 219. Look, we're still in April 16 here, folks. 219. That is remarkable. That's a good bit of money that's being paid for these particular dimes. That's what a big deal these are. They really are hot to trot. No doubt about it. And that's going to be it, I think, for the mint wrap rolls. And I think we'll see a whole lot more sales once these sell out and the day is over. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to check out some of the most recent sales, just like I did here today, that were completed and sold, ended recently, and find out what's what. Now, let's go over to that article at MSN. This is kind of funky. I was reading this. I was like, wait a minute. What are you guys doing over there? I don't think this was written by a coin collector, but that's all right. It doesn't matter. Look at this, all these ads. Limited 2026 release. It's got it twice. All right, so this is MSN by Daniel Monroe. It's 4 days ago on the 13th. It's a 7-minute read, but I don't think it's going to be 7 minutes. I'll probably read it faster. Title of this article is What You Should Do with Your Pennies Now That Minting Has Ended Before It Becomes a Regret. What? What do you mean before it becomes a regret? That's called the takeaway right there. That's like a sales technique that a car salesman, well, if you don't buy this car today, it probably is going to get sold and somebody else is going to get to ride around and enjoy this vehicle more than you. Well, maybe. All right, see, it says here, it happened quietly, but it was historic. On November 12, 2025, a coin press at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck what will be the last circulating penny ever made in America, or the United States, because America's the whole hemisphere, right? More than 2 centuries of copper, zinc, and Lincoln's stoic profile, all wrapped up in what? Final ceremonial punch of a machine. Okay. It's a kind of movement that sneaks up on you, and most people probably didn't notice until it was already over. Now millions of Americans are sitting on jars, cups, and piggy banks full of pennies and wondering, what exactly are they supposed to do with them? So this article has the answers for you if you don't know. And try and think of what this is trying to motivate you to do, right? The answer isn't as simple as spend them or toss them in the trash. Why would you toss them in the trash? There's actually a lot to think about here. Some of it surprisingly interesting, some of it genuinely important. Let's dive in. Now it says here, the end of an era, why the penny was actually losing money. Why was it losing money? Let's find out. All right, here's the thing that still blows my mind, the author says. For nearly 2 decades, the United States government was literally losing money by making money. Over the past decade, the mint's cost to produce each penny climbed from 1.42 cents to 3.69 cents. And it says, think about that. Okay, we're gonna think about that. Okay, I've thought about it. What do you think? All right, the government spent nearly 4 cents to create something worth 1 cent. It's like baking a loaf of bread that cost you $12 in ingredients to sell for $3. In 2024 alone, the Treasury incurred a seigniorage loss of $85.3 million on penny production. That's not a rounding error. That's real taxpayer money. Wait a minute. Real taxpayer money year after year. But is it though? I mean, the mint is self-funded. So, yeah, I don't agree that that's real taxpayer money year after year, because that's just, at the mint, the fat pays for the lean. All right. So it wasn't really taxpayer money. And now what it could mean is that they didn't have as much money to add, or didn't add any to the general fund. I think that's what they possibly meant. Either way, it says here the U.S. Mint projects an immediate annual savings of 56 million in reduced material costs by stopping penny production. The Secretary of the Treasury decided to suspend production of the 1 cent coin upon determining that was no longer necessary to meet the needs of the United States. Honestly, this decision was probably overdue. Countries including Canada, Australia, mate, and New Zealand and had already discontinued the lowest value coins without the sky falling. And I believe the Bahamas has actually gotten rid of their penny as well. Let's continue reading. Your pennies are still legal tender. Don't panic. And that's got a picture of foreign coins with some crayons. I guess that's lunch for later. Before you start worrying about the jar of pennies in your kitchen, breathe easy. Pennies will continue to be legal tender and retain their nominal value in perpetuity. It says here, nothing about your existing pennies has changed in terms of what they can buy or what they're worth at face value. The federal government has stopped manufacturing new pennies, but the Federal Reserve will continue to recirculate the roughly 1 point. Now, I think that's a bunch of, a hooey. They're going to recirculate the roughly 114 billion pennies currently in existence for as long as possible. Now, I think here's the reason why I think that's a bunch of hooey. Now, you may have seen comments in some of the videos that I have done where people actually have spoke with their bank tellers or bank branch managers, say that quickly 5 times, and they're saying that once they get pennies, they box them up, roll them up, box them up, and send them to the Federal Reserve. Yeah, that's what's going on. So the pennies are actually, in my opinion, from what I've seen and read and heard, yeah, they're being shipped out of circulation for whatever reason. I'm not sure, but those are going, and that's why they're so rare. That's why you don't find them anymore. And I can go to the local Target or the Walmart here near me, and they're going to have that sign in the window right before you get into the building, right before you get in to start your shopping experience, that there's a penny shortage. So it really begs the question, what are they doing with all those? What is the Fed doing with all those pennies that they're having the banks send them? That's what I'd like to know. I think that's what's really going down. Now it says here that's a staggering number of coins, 114 billion. They're not disappearing overnight. Au contraire, mon frere, they sure are. They'll likely remain in pockets and cash registers for years, possibly decades. I think, folks, do you agree with that statement? I don't. The end of production doesn't mean immediate disappearance. Well, it sure does. Pennies in circulations will continue for many years, until they get to the bank, and then they're gonzo. The transition will be gradual, giving systems, businesses, and the public time to adapt. So if you've got a jar sitting on your dresser, you're not holding on to some kind of extinct currency. You're just holding something that won't be replenished. Spend them. The Treasury is actually asking you to. Yeah, they're telling you to because they're helping the Federal Reserve gobble them back up. Look at this. More foreign coins there. All right, this one might surprise you. The Treasury Department is actively encouraging the public to spend their on-hand pennies to support a smooth transition. And allow retailers and point of sale POS system providers time to adapt. In other words, that jar on your counter, put it to work. Okay. Cash purchases in 2024 dropped to only 14% of U.S. transactions, according to a 2025 Federal Reserve Financial Services study. Most of us are already paying with cards or phones. Tap to pay, baby. All right, but for the transactions where you are using cash, pulling out those pennies right now is genuinely helpful to the broader economy. They don't say why, though, right? Think about that. And it helps you clear out the clutter. Yeah, you can clean your home with all those pennies you got laying on the carpet. Coins stashed in your home don't earn interest. Do you know what interest rates are if you go ahead and put that money in your savings account? Yeah, I think inflation is higher than the savings account rates. So their buying power erodes over time as inflation rises. Yeah, this is not a very realistically written article, but that's my opinion. That's a quiet but important truth. Every month those pennies sit in a jar, they're technically losing real world value. Or are they? Or because copper is going gonzo, yeah, 605 per pound. Yeah, you might want to keep those pre-82s. All right, let's see here. Spending them now while businesses still widely accept them is simply the smart move. So they're doing another takeaway here, saying, they're kind of insinuating here that, businesses may not accept them going forward. So you'd be smart. Hey, you're a smart guy. You know what to do with those pennies. Just go ahead and bring them back, and you're going to be a smart guy. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You don't want to be the opposite of smart because, the opposite of smart is what people do when they hoard their pennies. Now, it says here, take them to the bank or a coin counter before access gets harder. Another takeaway. Yeah, sorry, if you hold on to them much longer, you're not going to be able to spend them or get rid of them or anything like that. Bummer for you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so sad, so sorry. If spending them one by one sounds exhausting, depositing them at your bank is a perfectly solid option. Pennies will remain legal currency, so you can still use them. You can also take them to the bank for deposit, and then the next time you go to a coin counting machine, or drop them into collection boxes for charities. Here's the catch, though. Don't wait too long. Many banks are reducing the number of lobby coin counter machines, and with fewer places willing to process coins, jars, and bags of change are getting harder to turn into usable cash. And I'll tell you what, these coin counter machines, uh, I think you basically only find them at the smaller local regional credit unions, like the big banks like Wells Fargo or Bank of America. I don't think they have coin counter machines at all. At least the ones I go to don't. And I go to a lot of banks looking for coins, rolled coins, boxes of coins. All right, let's keep on keeping on here. It says here, it's a bit like trying to exchange a foreign currency after the country stops using it. What? The window is open now, but it won't stay open forever. What do you think this is trying to motivate people to do? Yeah, get their pennies back to the Federal Reserve. As of late January 2026, none of the coin terminal locations in the St. Louis Feds District were filling penny orders due to insufficient inventory, which just shows how fast this transition is moving. Yeah, okay. It says here, get to a coin machine or bank branch while the process is still routine and familiar to bank staff. Yeah, because, the bank staff might not know what a penny is in next year. They'll be like, a penny? What's that? Ooh, show me one. I have never seen one. Now it says here, sort your pennies. The pre-82 ones are worth more than you think. Well, how's that? Can you melt them down? Probably not. Now it says here, unless you're doing it for artistic purposes or flattening a penny, right? This is where things genuinely get interesting here. Not all pennies are created equal, and sorting through your collection before mindlessly dumping them in a Coinstar machine could pay off. If your penny is dated prior to 1982, it likely contains, 95% copper, which is significantly higher than the post-1982 pennies, which are made of zinc and copper plated. Yeah, that's why I call them zinc and cents. Well, the market price of copper fluctuates. Yeah, copper's near an all-time high. A pre-1982 copper penny is typically worth about 2 to 3 cents. That might not sound like a fortune, but it adds up quickly when you have a large quantity. Yeah, imagine you have 3 million copper pennies. That adds up really quick. A simple way to check a pre-82 copper penny weighs 3.1 grams, while a post-1982 zinc penny only weighs 2.5 grams. A kitchen scale is all you'll need. There's also truly rare finds worth keeping an eye out for. The 1909 SVDB Lincoln cent is one of the most valuable, often worth thousands of dollars due to its low mintage. Other highly sought-after pennies include the 1943 copper penny, which was mistakenly struck in bronze instead of steel and can be worth over $100,000. I know it sounds crazy, but people have found extraordinary things in ordinary coin jars. Yeah, also the 1926 S Lincoln cent. If you got that in a mid-state 65, you're going to buy yourself a brand new RV. Tell him what he's won. Yeah, that's incredible. Now, if you're not particularly interested in the investment angle, donating your pennies is one of the most satisfying options available. Okay. Coinstar kiosks let you donate directly to charity with choices including the American Red Cross and Feeding America. That's not such a bad thing, right? Donations are tax deductible. This way, you'll skip the machine fee and do something meaningful for somebody else. Yeah, that's right. Now it says here, you can even start a change drive at your child's school. That's kind of smart, actually. Community center or at work, and up the fun factor by holding a contest or dividing days into different denominations. It sounds old-fashioned, but honestly, there's something kind of lovely about making a physical, tangible contribution, especially as the penny exits the stage of American life. Yeah, exit stage left even. Okay. It says here many charities accept coin donations directly. The act of gathering your pennies and directing them toward a food bank, veterans organization, or children's hospital turns a dusty jar of forgotten change into something genuinely worthwhile. They're not lying there. All right, it's hard to say for sure exactly how much Americans give this way each year, but the cumulative impact on coin drives across schools and workplaces has historically added up to millions and millions of dollars annually. Now it says here, save a few as collectibles. The 2025 penny has already historic value, and you may have a roll or a box of those sitting over there at your house. Let's be real, you probably shouldn't hoard rolls. Why not? And rolls of modern pennies, expecting them to fund your retirement. Rarity doesn't equal value when billions of something exists. Coin experts explain that with such massive quantities in circulation, it could be 2, 3, sometimes 4 generations before a coin actually picks up pace and becomes interesting to collectors. That's called generational wealth. And think about it. If somebody had in 1909 or 1926 bought a whole roll of pennies, 50 cents of 1926 S, and then here we are in 2026, and you've got a whole roll of those 1926 S Lincoln cents. Yeah, that's generational wealth. I'm telling you. So just because and then really and really that's what's going down with coin collections, because we're really the steward. We're not the we unless if you're going to give them out to your family and so on and so forth with future generations. Yeah, that's right. We're the steward. All right. Now it says here, that said, setting a few aside for sentimental and historic reasons is absolutely worthwhile. Choose a few years of note. It says here, child's birth year or anniversary, the oldest penny you can find, and keep them. The mint will continue. What about mints and mint marks? And what about each and every single year, like you do in a folder or an album? The mint will continue to produce numismatic versions of the penny in limited quantities for historical and collector purposes. So if you're serious about collecting, those limited collector editions are worth watching. Absolutely. No doubt about it. From the flowing-haired Liberty large cents of 1793 to the Lincoln set of 1909 and the copper-plated zinc pennies of recent decades, the U.S. penny has been more than a mere coin. It has served as a tangible piece of American history, an everyday tool in commerce, and a symbol of thrift, change, and continuity. And that says here, a 2025 penny, the final year production, is already something your grandchildren will hold with a different kind of curiosity. Keep a few in a safe place, or a box, or a roll, what have you. Conclusion: don't let this moment pass you by. Now, what do you think so far, folks? Is this good and solid advice, or is it kind of wonky? Here and there, it's smart, but that's all right. It says here the end of the penny isn't a crisis, it's a transition, but transitions have windows, and those windows close. That's a takeaway. Again, the smart move right now is to act with intention, spend what you can, deposit the rest before access narrows, sort your pre-1982 pennies carefully, and save a small handful as a piece of living history. The regret won't come from losing money, it'll come from dumping a jar full of potentially valuable coins into a machine for 91 cents on the dollar, or leaving historic copper pennies in a drawer until they're forgotten. This genuinely is one of those rare moments where paying attention now pays off later. What would you do differently if you had known the penny was going away a year ago? We did know that, didn't we? That answer is yeah, I think it was. No, I guess it was. Yeah, it was this time last year. It's been since the end of February 2025, we knew it was going away, right? Right after the Super Bowl. This is genuinely one of those rare moments where paying attention now pays off later. What would you do differently if you'd known the penny was going away a year ago? And like I said, we did. That answer is probably your roadmap for right now. Tell us in the comments. It's a question worth thinking about. There it is, folks. What do you think of this article? Kind of exciting, kind of weird, kind of wonky. What are they trying to motivate you to do? Well, it seems like they're motivating you to get your coins back into circulation. But is that exactly where they go? Because like I said, in the comments of some of the videos I've done, people have talked to the branch managers, the bank tellers, and said that they box those up and send them off to the Federal Reserve. What? Yeah, that's what's going down. And here's the question. Why is that happening? What do you think the motivation is for the Federal Reserve to take all those pennies, or at least take the pennies out of circulation? Are they shipping them off to areas that don't have pennies? Are they kind of trying to spread the butter evenly on the toast and get all these communities that have no pennies, some pennies in their circulation in their areas? Is it a circulatory problem? like the coin shortage was in 2020? I don't know. But that's definitely something worth talking about. That's a whole new wrinkle, isn't it? Now let's go to the plus ones. Yammered for way too. I don't even know if I've got this one. Yeah, I think this is from yesterday, actually. And I don't even know if I'm on this at all. Yeah, I've been busy this morning. I'm not even going to do a song probably. Talking in good times, it's good to talk. In bad times, not to. A talk is $1. Silence is $2. This is proverbial wisdom regarding discretion, timing, and the value of communication. Similar to the saying, speech is silver, silence is golden, emphasizing the prudence of keeping quiet to avoid mistakes. And it's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. And don't forget, in the beginning, uh, God said, "Let there be light." Yeah, that's what's going down now. With that said, I want to thank y'all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. If you want to listen to some music, you can go to the playlist here. There's 83 videos in here. That's a whole lot of songs you can be playing right there. And don't forget, we're going to be going live today at 11:40 a.m. Eastern, 8:40 a.m. Pacific time. And there's already somebody in the waiting already for this fun time. And listen, if you could do it, please do. Membership is $1.99 a month, and these fine folks right here are helping this channel get these videos out each and every single day. Yeah, that's what's going down. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you at the drop later. I'm out.